What's up guys, Evil here. Today we're doing maintenance on my kid's 2017 Raptor 90 oil change. I haven't seen anything of these on YouTube. It's not a huge deal, but it's a little bit confusing as far as oil plugs and stuff, so just thought I would put this video together and change some oil. I got my helper out here. She's really just kind of making a mess. Making the bike dirty anyway, she's good at that. Anyway, the Raptor 90 only holds 0.95 quarts of oil, so I went to the Yamaha dealer, got bent over for a quart of 1040 Yamaha lube. This being a, what they call it, a CVT bike, it has separate transmission fluid and engine oil, and those are two separate things. So this time I'm focusing only on the engine oil, and we'll do a different video when we do the transmission. Right now we're at the 20-hour maintenance mark, and she's been riding the crap out of it, so I figured it was time to change the engine oil, get all the break-in shavings out of it and whatnot. Alright, so first was the fun part. We went out and warmed up the bike, and then pulled it up on the lift. First step here is to, well, I checked the oil. The oil's still, it hadn't burned a bit, but you have to pull this out to help the oil drain. It's a little bit confusing because this thing has, it looks like 3 plugs. So this plug that you can see from here, that's your transmission plug, and then underneath here there's actually 2 bolts on the bottom of the crankcase there, which confused the shit out of me. This back one is actually the oil drain plug. It has a strainer and an O-ring on it. I have no idea what the front one is. The manual doesn't say, but anyway, 3 plugs. The middle one here is what we want. You're going to need a torque wrench, regular socket wrench, 17mm socket. Yes, you can get along without the torque wrench, but don't blame me if you strip out your crankcase. Torque spec I think is only 10 foot-pounds, so that's not very tight at all. So if you're not using a torque wrench, be very careful how tight you tighten this thing down. Pull the plug out. Here's what you get. You got your plug, the spring, and the strainer. They say looks like there's a little bit of crap in that strainer. Probably some shavings from the break-in. You're supposed to spray this out with some light solvent. So while this is draining, I'm going to go clean this guy out here. Alright, she goes back together like this. You're supposed to change this O-ring. I never do. I usually will go several oil changes on my cars and whatnot before I change those O-rings. They don't wear out after one cycle. So make sure the O-ring's still there. The spring sits in there like that. Strainer, I used some kerosene on it, and then I hit it with a little bit of air to make sure it got everything out of it. Drops in there like that. We're going to check the bottom of the case where the O-ring seats, make sure there's nothing stuck to it before we put it back, and then we'll torque this thing in here. Remember, if you do replace this O-ring, that you put a light coat of oil on it so it doesn't bind up while you're tightening it to the crankcase. And it holds 0.95 quarts, which is basically 1 quart. The Yamaha dealer said just pull the whole quart in there, it'll be fine. The spout is pretty small, so I'm going to pour this real slow. And then reinstall the filler cap. I'm going to start it up and then check the oil and make sure the level's good, and you should be good to go.